limited Hawkeye series was probably the best debut that Maya Lopez, aka Echo, could have had, who is getting her own spin-off series, and the people working on it might be the ones that will make the series have so much more MCU connections than we can count, including the likes of Marvel's Netflix properties that were taken back at Marvel Studios, which, put together with the likes of the Kingpin and him being alive, could spell disaster for the street-level crime-fighting superheroes of the MCU. MCU's Phase 4 is well underway, filled with some of the most interesting events occurring as we speak, and big thanks to the livelihood of the period after the Infinity Saga falls down to Marvel Studios' newfound idea of their limited or multiple season series that have been releasing for more than a year now on the Disney Plus streaming platform. And the closing months of 2021 Marvel brought to us the Hawkeye series with Jeremy Renner in the role of the titular character. However, we are not here for him today. The main topic of our video comes in the form of Maya Lopez, aka Echo, the first deaf superhero of the MCU, portrayed to perfection by Alaqua Cox. How the character was received by the fans is probably what got Marvel thinking that she indeed needs a series of her own, and we are getting just that. It may be a while before the series gets released, but that doesn't mean that we cannot talk about the series itself and what it can entail, especially since she was one of the most complex characters in the entire Hawkeye. And we can understand why that is. If your father was someone like Kingpin, you would turn out to be a difficult character to handle in the real world, filled with crime and always looking over your shoulder. Kingpin is not Echo's real father, but he is the one that adopted her after her father was killed by Kingpin's men, something Echo discovers later in her life, which is why she secretly wants revenge over the man who raised her into the criminal she is in the present. The series itself will take place after the events of Hawkeye, with the main synopsis of the series stating that the Echo series will see Maya Lopez as she navigates through the life of crime, learning how to fight her demon, with her finding her own way in the world now that she is not obliged to follow the orders of Kingpin, something we will touch upon a little bit later down the line. One of the interesting things that give birth to some extraordinary characters getting some screen time in the series comes from the people that will be working on the series, Ken Christensen and Dara Resnick, with the two previously working on the Punisher series for Netflix, Ken writing 3 episodes of the series, and Dara Resnick penning 2 episodes for the Daredevil series that streamed on the Netflix streaming platform too. These are the writers that understand the street-level side of the MCU the most, which is why we think they are the perfect people to work on a down-to-earth series like this, where the crime in the streets and the gangs running those streets are put on the spotlight. Them taking part in the series might also signal that we might be seeing some of the Netflix's Marvel characters, including the likes of Frank Castle, Matt Murdock, Karen Page, and many more, which could bring a whole new dynamic to the MCU, especially now since Daredevil has officially been confirmed of joining the MCU, thanks to his cameo appearance in the latest Spider-Man Far From Home movie. The series could also include the likes of Benjamin Poindexter, Detective Mahoney, John Pilgrim, and many other underrated characters from the Marvel properties that aired on Netflix, with all of these characters eventually playing a much larger role than they were given up until now. The series will likely touch upon her connection with Hawkeye that she has in the Marvel comics, something we have seen a little bit in the first season as they got to know each other, their fighting style, but also how their minds work towards the mission that was given to them, or the one they made for themselves. The Echo series might also look into the time when both she and Hawkeye share the Ronin identity. A very interesting and exciting time for the supposedly underrated character in the MCU up until this point. The new Avengers team is also another plot thread that might get explored in this series. A group of members that Echo has a lot of connection to in the Marvel comics, a team she joined at one point but was unable to take a larger role and due to her refusal to tarnish the reputation of heroes, hence donning the suit the Ronin identity. The newest addition to the MCU, or the second newest we should say, is Moon Knight, a particularly complex character that took the world by storm, a character Echo has connections with. She was the one to save Mark Spector while working under the guise of a stripper, after which Mark proposes to her to work together, with the two meddling with the West Coast, where Kingpin rules the streets. Now, this setting is already done, as a certain chain of events showed Kingpin much earlier than expected, However, the series could play with the fact that the two heroes join together against an enemy they both want to take down. And don't let the Hawkeye series finale fool you. Kingpin is not dead, and we will tell you exactly why and how. The closing moments of the 6th episode of the Hawkeye series see Kingpin clinching for dear life after he nearly survives getting hit by a car driven by Kate Bishop's mom, Eleanor, and subsequently being blown up by Kate Bishop. After all the dust has settled in an alley, Kingpin is confronted by Maya Lopez, who says to him that she wants out of the family business involving crime. The seed of doubt planted in her by Clint and her being forced to kill her best friend Kazi, who did not want to turn his back on Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin, are the two elements that bring her into a confrontation that resulted in her shooting Kingpin just as the credits started to roll. However, did she really kill the Kingpin? Is he even Kingpin if he is that easy to kill? Just after one episodic appearance? Keep in mind that in the one episode we saw Kingpin making an appearance, he survived several blows, got shot by numerous arrows, and still got up and walked away, even from an explosion happening very close to him. The whole scenery that got showcased in the series seemed like a parallel that already happened in the comics. And before we move on with our hints and theories about all the things that could be on the more interesting side of things for the Echo series, we should mention that the Hawkeye series is a limited one, and that it served well to introduce some characters that will play a big role in the future of the MCU, including the likes of Kate Bishop and Clint's successor, Maya Lopez, and Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin, and all the power he has, outside of the brute strength in his body. Going back to the parallel we mentioned, it happened in the Daredevil Volume 2 issue 15, which came out in April 2001, with certain events leading up to Echo shooting Kingpin, with the conversation we got in the series looking like it was copied straight from the pages of the comics. And the moment that Kingpin gives Maya his "we're family" appeal is yet another appeal to the close relationship between the two, after which Kingpin is shot, but it's not a fatal blow. He survives, but is blinded. Thus, we think that Kingpin is very alive, even after being shot at by his dearest family member, and that he will be the villain of the series, in a way, and the one that will be the reason the series will blow our minds, as he is one of the most renowned characters of the MCU, despite being just a crime boss, the biggest of them all, both literally and figuratively. On a related note, tell us down in the comments below, what are your thoughts on the Hawkeye series, as well as the Echo character? What are your expectations about the spin-off series? And what would you like to see happen next in the events to come? But also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you would like to see more videos like this in the future. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.